Hi guys, Anita here and welcome to Anita's Cake Bakery. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this glamorous stiletto heeled shoe made entirely out of gum paste. Okay, let's get started. To make your stiletto high heel shoe, you need to start off by making your heel. Grease your silicone mould with some vegetable shortening. I'm using black coloured Pastiallage to make my heel, as Pastiallage will dry harder and a lot quicker than gum paste. Knead your Pastiallage and place it into the mould with the smooth side down. Work the Pastiallage into your mould with your fingers, pressing firmly, so be making sure that it gets into all of the creases. Roll over your mould with your rolling pin and make sure you remove any excess pieces of Pastiallage with your fingers. You can also use a knife to take off any excess pieces. Once you're happy that the Pastiallage is in the mould and it's nice and smooth, place in the freezer for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. So here I'm just showing you another way that you can colour your heel rather than colouring your Pastiallage with food colouring. So I'm going to spray my heel black, but the original colour was actually a yellow gold. I'll spray the entire heel in the black on both sides. And then I've left it to dry for around 20 to 30 minutes, where I flipped the heel over to finish spraying off the inner part of the heel. Then you can leave it to dry for another half an hour. So now I've taken the original heel out of the freezer after half an hour, and turning the mould upside down, you can use your thumb and fingers just to push the heel out. In some cases you may need to stretch the heel just a bit so that it's the same height as your former. So I've put my heel up against the shoe former and actually it's the right height, so there's no need for me to stretch it anymore. The heel on the right is airbrushed, the heel on the left is the coloured Pastiallage. They both produce perfect results. So I'm using the airbrushed heel that I made a few days earlier, and I'm going to show you how to do the inner part of the heel. So I coloured some gum paste in a beige colour, brushed the inner part of the heel with some water and placed that heel face down onto the gum paste. Now for the heel tab, I've rolled out some black gum paste and cut it to a length of 1 centimetre by 4 centimetres. Brush the lower part of your heel with a bit of water and wrap the gum paste right around and cut off any excess. And now you can leave your heel to dry for 5 to 10 minutes. So now we're on to making the inner sole. You need to roll your gum paste to about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. sole template over the gum paste and cut around it using a pizza cutter. For this shoe, I'm going to make an outer sole using beige gum paste. Roll your gum paste quite thin, making sure it's the right length of your sole. Add some corn flour to your surface to make sure the gum paste does not stick. Stick your sole onto the beige piece of gum paste with the mortar and cut around using your pizza cutter. Now you can place your sole onto the shoe former. As you can see on the video where the sole naturally curves on the ramp, it's formed some elephant skin. This is simply because I left the sole unattended for a few minutes and it's dried out. So I highly recommend you work quickly when using gum paste. Brush the top of your heel with some water or edible glue and fix the heel to the back part of the sole of your shoe. For the back part of your heel, you need to roll your gum paste to 1/4 inch thick. Cut around the back heel template using your pizza cutter. Add some realistic stitching using your stitching wheel. Brush some water or edible glue onto the back heel piece and fix this to the outer heel. You want to make sure that the stitching is showing on the inside. Using your stitching wheel, add the stitching detail around the sole of your shoe. So for this shoe, I'm doing an inner part of the sole using a scalloped edge mould. I find using fondant for this is easier to work with than gum paste because the fondant's a lot softer. And as it's softer, you can use your fingers to push the fondant into the individual edges of the mould. Because as you can see, the edges are scalloped. And for a neat, crisp finish, you need to get into every single part of the scalloped edge. Once I was happy that I got into every single scalloped edge, I placed the mould in the freezer for 15 minutes. This made it easier to come out of the mould, and then I placed it onto my shoe using some water. For the front part, which is the open toe, cut around your template and then cut around 5mm off of the longest part of the open toe. I cut the extra few millimeters off because I wanted the front part of the shoe just to be a little bit slimmer. Attach this piece to the top part of your sole using edible glue or water. If you have some cling film, scrunch that up and place that inside the front part of the shoe so that it dries to the shape. Now, to make your strap for your shoe, you need to roll out your gum paste to around 4mm in thickness. We need the length to be around 9 inches and the width to be around 1/4 inch. Cut your strap to this size and using your stitching tool, stitch the outer side and the inner side. Shape your strap into a circle so that it dries into this actual shape. To make your buckle, you need to add some gum paste into the mould, which I already dusted with some corn flour. Roll over the mould with your rolling pin, making sure that the gum paste gets into all of the creases. Use your finger to flatten it out making sure that it's smooth, and place your mould in the freezer for around 10 to 15 minutes. Once you've taken the buckle out of the mould, you can use your stitching wheel to stitch around the edge of your buckle strap. At this point I did find my strap was a bit too long, so I did cut off around half an inch, and then I attached the buckle. Now you can leave your buckle to dry for a good few hours or even overnight for best results. So now the shoe is made, I'm going to embellish it with the edible glitter. Brush your shoe with some water or edible glue and just simply sprinkle the glitter all over it. To catch any excess glitter, make sure your shoe is in a baking tray that's covered with greaseproof paper. Therefore, it will be easier to pour the excess glitter back into the tube once you've finished, and it can be reused again. So continue adding the glitter on the outer edges of the shoe, the front part of the shoe, and leave the back part till the end. So now we're going to make the tab for the back of the shoe, which the strap goes through. Roll out your gum paste to around 2 inches length and 1 inch width. Use your stitching wheel to stitch around the outer edges of the tab. At this point, your strap with the buckle attached should be completely dry. Initially, I painted around the buckle in silver, but then I decided to paint over it in a darker shade of silver, so I added just a small amount of black to make it that bit darker. Now you need to embellish the strap with the glitter, so brush with a small amount of water and sprinkle your glitter all over. Set this aside to dry for about 45 minutes. Now we're going to attach the strap to the back of the shoe using the tab. Brush the back of the shoe with a small amount of water. Push the strap through the tab and hold the tab in place, pushing it in with your fingers, and use your stitching wheel on the outer edges just to make sure that this tab is secure and in place. To make sure that the ankle strap stays up, you can use a support. I've got some polystyrene, or you can use a scrunched up piece of paper or cling film. Now that the strap's securely in place, I've given the buckle another coat of black paint. Now you need to leave your shoe to dry overnight so that the strap and buckle have dried enough to stay in its place. Now we can continue to add the embellishment to the back of the shoe. Brush the back of the shoe and the tab with water or your edible glue and sprinkle with the glitter until all areas are covered. Remove the piece of polystyrene that was keeping the strap in place and brush off any excess glitter with a dry paintbrush. So once the shoe's finished, I'd suggest leaving it to dry for a few more days to make sure that it's completely solid and dry. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. For future videos, make sure to subscribe, and to get notified, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Thank you and see you soon. Bye.